understanding FMCG performance. KPI, is your FMCG business actually growing? Sales are up, distribution is expanding, and your market share looks healthy. But here's the real question. Do you actually know what's driving that performance? In FMCG, we often use a language of acronyms to answer that question. ND, WD, NOOS, WOOS, SAH, SOM, SOS. If you've ever been in an FMCG review meeting and wondered what all of these really mean, this episode is for you. Because behind every KPI is actually a simple business question. The business questions. First, are we reaching enough stores? That's where numeric distribution or ND comes in. Next, are we in the right stores? That's where weighted distribution or WD becomes important. Then, are our products actually available? That's where NOOS and WOOS come in. Now, are we winning where we are present? That's where SAH becomes useful. So, how big are we in the total market? That's SOM or share of market. And finally, where are we strongest? That's where SOS or share of segment helps us. Let's decode all 7 using one simple example. ND, numeric distribution. Imagine a biscuit brand called ABC Foods. We are looking at a market with 10,000 retail outlets. ABC Foods is currently present in 4,000 of them. So, how widely are we distributed? Numeric distribution is simply the percentage of outlets where our product is available. 4,000 divided by 10,000 gives us 40%. So our ND is 40%. In simple language, ND tells us how many stores have us. Why ND isn't enough? But there's a problem. ND treats every outlet equally. A small neighborhood store and a large supermarket both count as just one outlet. But they don't contribute the same amount of category sales. And that's where the next KPI becomes important. WD, weighted distribution. Let's say those 4,000 outlets represent 70% of total biscuit category sales. That means our physical presence is only 40%, but we are present in outlets that represent 70% of the category. So our weighted distribution is 70%. And this is the key difference. ND tells us how many stores we reach. WD tells us how important those stores are. That's why WD is often a much better indicator of the quality of distribution. Distribution versus availability. But there's another important distinction. Being distributed doesn't necessarily mean being available. A retailer may list our product, but the product could still be missing from the shelf. And that's where we move from distribution to availability. NOOS, numeric out of stock. Let's go back to our 4,000 ABC outlets. Suppose 400 of those outlets currently have zero stock of our product. 400 divided by 4,000 gives us 10%. That's our numeric out of stock or NOOS. In simple terms, NOOS tells us what percentage of our outlets are currently out of stock. So, ND asks, should we be there? NOOS asks, are we actually available? WOOS, weighted out of stock. But once again, not every out of stock store is equally important. Suppose those 400 out of stock outlets represent 15% of total category sales. Then our weighted out of stock or WOOS is 15%. So now we know something much more important. Only 10% of our outlets are out of stock, but those outlets represent 15% of category sales. That's why WOOS can be more commercially significant than NOOS. The story so far. So far, we've answered 4 questions. ND, how many stores are we in? WD, how important are those stores? NOOS, how many of our stores are out of stock? WOOS, how important are those out of stock stores? But there's still a bigger question. Are we actually winning? SAH, share among handlers. Let's say we look only at the stores that actually carry our product. Across those stores, the relevant category sales are 100 crore rupees. ABC Foods generates 25 crore. 25 divided by 100 gives us 25%. That's share among handlers, or SAH. The important phrase here is among the handlers. SAH asks, how strong are we in the stores that already carry us? SAH versus SOM. And this is where people often confuse SAH with SOM. SAH looks only at the stores that handle our product. SOM looks at the entire market. So SAH answers, how strong are we where we are present? SOM asks, how big are we across the total market? Different denominator, different business question. Share of market. Let's say the total biscuit market is worth 200 crore rupees. ABC Foods sells 30 crore. 30 divided by 200 gives us 15%. Our share of market, or SOM, is 15%. That's our overall position in the market. SOS, share of segment. But markets aren't always one homogeneous pool. Suppose the premium biscuit segment is worth 80 crore rupees. ABC Foods sells 24 crore within that segment. 24 divided by 80 gives us 30%. That's our share of segment, or SOS. So remember, SOM tells us how big we are overall. SOS tells us where we are strong. The 7 KPI. And now let's bring the 7 KPI together. ND, WD, NOOS, WOOS, SAH, SOM, SOS. Together, they tell a much richer story than any single KPI can. Reach, quality of reach, availability, performance, and segment strength. But don't try to memorize 7 acronyms. Remember the questions they help answer. The business question chain. Are we there? ND. Are we in the right stores? WD. Are we available? NOOS and WOOS. Are we winning where we are present? SAH. How big are we overall? SOM. Where are we strongest? SOS. That's the real way to understand FMCG KPI. Final takeaway. Because here's the most important lesson. One KPI never tells the whole story. ND without WD can hide the quality of distribution. Distribution without availability can hide lost sales. SOM without SOS can hide where we are actually strong. So don't just learn the KPI. Understand the business question behind it.